What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Deep Rhythm, and we are back with another video. And today we got a special video for y'all today. Today we're going to be talking about the subject of being able to not only interpret information, but alignment, right? We're gonna get into alignment, right? So in this video, right? So I want to talk about a quick something, right? I want to talk about a quick concept, right? In terms of, why it's important to have good technique, right? And I expanded on this video. I did this, a little bit of this topic right here, on Deep Art and on, my other channel. But in this video right here, I want to go a different route. I kind of want to slant it, make throw a little curveball, regarding the last few topics that we talked about, right? So a few days ago, we talked about, the topic of, being able to take skill sets and incorporate that with IQ, just like with Kobe. Kobe is someone who's very, watches more film than anybody, right? But at the same time, his skill set, he puts more working hours into on the little basketball court by himself, working on moves and working on skills, right? But at the same time, still putting just as much work in the in the gym and in the weight room. So it's a lot of things going on with Kobe, in terms of his game that I think are worth noting, and I think are astonishing and worth noting, right? And those things, being his skill set and his confidence in his skill set and his game, in order to tweak and kind of trip the rhythm of the game and the natural flow of the game that he spends so much time studying, right? Like and I think that is very, very keen, right? To spend that much time studying and analyzing the flow of the game in order for you to be able to maneuver your way, in that flow. And then to be able to decide at the snap of a finger, like, hey, I got this skill set right here that I could just pull it from right here, and it don't even matter. F the game flow. I can just do this. I can just pull up right here and it's still going. That's crazy to me, right? That's crazy. So I wanted to make this video right here to kind of expand on a few different things, especially even the last video we just made about in terms of training, right? This is all so this one right here, this video I want to make right here is more so on the regard of taking your skill sets and of course being able to document and to be able to understand the skill sets and what you're actually doing, right? And how they apply to other functions, which is very, very crucial and it's very, very important to understand, right? So that's what we want to talk about in this game. It's like a basketball. It's like a basketball game. Like you train your game, like what you're doing, right? Like it's easy to understand what you're doing because it's physical. Like you practice the technique of your crossover, right? When you do when you got one ball dribbling, and stationary dribbling, and you cross the ball over, you're doing crossovers behind them, like you're working on technique. You know what I'm saying? You know what you're getting out of that. And, you get two ball dribbling, right? You know what you're getting out of that. You're going to get faster and more coordinated handles, right? With two ball dribbling, doing the same thing. And then like you get a tennis ball, you add that. Now you're going to have more of a mental coordination. Now you got more of a mental coordination going on and a little bit of accuracy going on, right? Because now you have to catch a tennis ball. So you know what you're getting out of the workouts that you're putting in, right? You know exactly what you're getting and you're immediately applying it to something else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we get into the aspect of business, it's like consciously, because now we're moving from physical, stuff to now like just, the mental 2 + 2 = 4 stuff, right? Because so now you have to consciously understand and know, like, okay, so when I do this, I know this is going to have this effect, and kind of take the same outlet and apply it the same way. But now, instead of it being a full body, a full force thing, it's a 2 + 2 = 4 thing, right? So with that being said, in regards to that, you have to understand, like, calculations in terms, there's a lot of mathematics going on. It's a lot of mathematics going on because now, once you understand the specific effects, you can take what those effects are and mentally apply it once again to something else and see how that works. It's almost like playing a game that you're not a part of, right? Like using a controller, and playing a game that you're really not a part of, but you are a part of, right? You know what I'm saying? Like throwing a ball without without using your hands, you know what I'm saying? Which is basically what business is, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're fighting, but with your mind, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different, and it requires a different, different tools in order to be able to take down. So one of the thing about mental things is everything mental. Every mental thing that you obtain is a tool, right? It's a tool. Just like you would pick up a screwdriver and to screw in a screw to something, right? Just like the same thing you would to hit a baseball, you would use a baseball bat to hit it with. You know what I'm saying? Or to be more try to be more concise with where we're going. When to open a garage door, you would hit the button on the you would hit the button on a little machine, right, to open the garage door, right? These are tools you're using in order to get a job done or get a certain effect out of something that you want. Mentally, there's mental tools that you would use in order for you to get a specific effect out of something, right? And that's the subject that we really want to go into in this video right here. It's mental tools, right? It's tools, but it's mental, right? And that's the thing about mental things. That's the thing about gaining knowledge. That's the thing about having strategy. That's the thing about having a specific way of doing things. Once you come up with an analogy, or once you come up with a phrase or some sort of poem or anything like that, now becomes that you just created a tool in order to get a specific job done or to go in a specific direction. And it's the same thing with the people that you listen to, the things these are now becoming weapons, in order for you to progress in a specific way, right? To break that down further, because we're getting somewhere. We getting somewhere in this, right? So these are all mental tools, that we're using in order to get a specific effect out of something, right? If you were going into business and you had, like we said in that one video, right? Precision versus aim. You precision would be what you see. You stand on a hill and this big old contraption in front of you. Past that big old contraption, you see exactly where you're trying to be at. But right in between where you're standing at on the hill and where you want to be at is this giant contraption factory thing that you got to go through, and you got to understand all of the sophisticated components of that thing in order to teleport yourself or get yourself past out the door and on the other side and where exactly you want to be at, right? So that's aim, right? So with this concept in mind, remembering precision versus aim, we have to understand that the mental tools that you use in order to get your shit done, like turning on a TV, right? To turn on the TV, you pick up the remote and you point it at the TV and you hit the button to turn that black screen into to flip that black screen and it open, and it turned into whatever, the game or some art, or a cartoon show, right? Or all right, and it turn on, right? And now you're looking at some sort of entertainment or education or whatever, right? Now you're looking at the news or whatever, right? Once you picked up that remote and just literally hit a button in front of and pointed at a TV, and now you turn that joint on. So I want to say that, right? Because so check it, right? This is what we mean by tools, right? Mental tools, right? It's like you hit this switch, and all of a sudden, things start to flowing, right? And things start to getting set right. Like there's, mental, like anything mental is a tool, like anything mental that you gain is a tool and a weapon that you can utilize to push you forward in a specific way. The mind is a tool. It's the same thing as a remote, or it can be utilized as a tool, just like the same thing as a remote can, just the same way, the baseball bat can, or all these other different things that are built and crafted by men in order to serve a specific function, and to serve a specific function. You create a screwdriver in order to screw in a screw that might be for the stability of a table, right? You might have a little bit those wires they put in light bulbs, in order to flip the light bulb on. So there's tools that are being used in order to activate certain components or mechanics in order for an effect or an effect to happen. The mind, it works the same way as a tool does, because the mind can activate certain tools and certain things to start working in order for you to perform better, right? In order for you to think in a certain light that will allow you to get a specific job done, right? Because the mind is a tool, and now as you use now the mind is being used as a tool, because now you're flipping in, you're using it, you're activating something. You can use it to activate something, to spark a reaction or spark a specific result in order to function a specific way, right? And that's the important thing to understand about the mind. To go, to ease our way into this, right? Let's start off with this angle, right? Let's start off with sayings, right? You may say, I'm going to stay disciplined in my systems, right? I'm going to do 5 push-ups every morning as soon as I get up, right? That's a tool, because you just set a discipline to your own mind that you're going to wake up and do 5 push-ups every day, right? And now over a period of time with that tool, after about a week, you may see some sort of difference, right? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe not that much of a difference with that analogy, but you get what I'm saying, right? I set a mental tool in place because I said at this time, I'm going to do this every single day, and I abide by that. This becomes truth to me. This is just what it is. This becomes my truth, and I'm going to do this at this time every day. And by the end, by eventually over 1 week or 2 weeks, even if you notice it or not, there's going to be a drastic difference in you, right? And that is the important thing I want to talk about, right? With mental tools is literally setting tools in place, like maybe even a structure of what I'm going to do, and this is going to become my life now. Like I'm going to do 25 push-ups at this set time every day, and that's just going to be it, right? And that's going to be part of my life, right? And it's going to change me whether I even recognize it or not, right? This tool, right, is now set. Like that's a mental, that's just a mental tool that I just set and that I have running, because now when I stop noticing it, right, and it's still active, right, other people notice it, even though I don't notice it, because it's still running on autopilot, it's still active, and it's still going to continue to benefit me, right? So whether yeah, and now I can stack on top of that benefit, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about with the mind, your mental tools, and how the mind is a weapon, right? And it can be used to activate certain things if you let it, or if you see it that way, right? But that's not the only way the mind is a tool, right? There's plenty of different examples and countless, endless ways that you can really go about this and understand that the mind is literally a tool, right? So the other way I want to say is acquiring knowledge, right? You know, when you acquire knowledge and you reiterate in your mind that this, and you meditate on it and you implement it, the mind is now becoming a tool, especially when you see things a certain way. Having an opinion on something, to have an opinion on something is to use a tool. Is the same thing, it's the same thing, right? To names is the same thing as giving something a name. The mind is a literal tool, and if you utilize it that way by setting thermostats, setting a schedule or a discipline that you're going to do, even if it may even be a simple one that you just do every day. Setting thermostats in terms of, okay, I'm going to utilize this specific thing in this way. So like maybe there might be certain tools that you have in your environment. You may say, I'm going to use this way. This is this to me, right? This is like, it may be a completely different, it may be like some type of object that is just, whatever. But you may see the object and say, this, it's going to serve this specific function to me in my systems, right? This is what it's going to be. That's utilizing that mental tool right there as well, right? Because now you're setting the thermostat in terms of what things are to you, right? And you're setting the thermostat into what your life consists of, and just how it is, right? Just what your life is, right? This is what my life is. These things serve these functions, and I'm controlling my life through this mental tool, right? Or this mental tool, or the tool of my mind. So literally, the mind is a literal tool, and you can use it in every way, from having an opinion on something, right? To classifying things a certain way, right? And of course, setting thermostats in terms of disciplines, right? And in terms of setting technicalities, even the spaces that you go to. You might even say to yourself, I'm not going to go down that side of the street, and I'll never go down that side of the street. You know what I'm saying? That's a mental tool, right? People may call this shit stubborn, and people may call this shit whatever they may call it, but that's a mental tool. Saying that I'm never going to go down that side of the street, I'm always going to go down this one, sets a thermostat and sets a thermostat on you and how you function, right? And these type of tools can be used in order to build up your systems and build up whatever you're trying to do, or whatever you're trying to build, right? Or whatever, business or system or whatever you're trying to build, man, like, a service, whatever it may be. This is how you can utilize mental tools in order to build whatever you're trying to build, is by setting these mental thermostats just like this. So that is what we really wanted to talk about in this video right here. We wanted to dabble all the way into being able to set mental you understand that the mind is a little tool and a little weapon. And a lot of times we don't use our minds as a weapon because we're not taught to. We're taught to take everything that comes at us, just, as it appears to us, and just take it as that, right? And we have no control over our own lives and even who we are, right? or who we're to even grow up to be. We're taking in what society says, things to be, right? And society is crazy, right? And society is disgusting, and society is, influenced by too many negative factors, right? In the classroom, you don't have control over what you learn. Even on the internet, you don't have control over what you see. You don't have control over any of these. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, without having control of these type of things, it's like you're being naturally programmed by the age of 5. Going forward, to just take, not be able to utilize your mind, as a tool. You don't even understand that it is a tool. You just think it's just, just you, right? And when you can't utilize that tool, somebody else is going to utilize that tool for you, right? And now you don't have control over your own mind. You know what I'm saying? You don't have control over the own tools that you have in your arsenal that you don't realize you have, So that is, the nature of this video. That's what we really wanted to talk about. Hopefully this video was good. This was a very, very, all over the place type video, but it all came together, and it all came together to end nicely, and it made a very impactful punch, right? But that is, basically what we're going to talk about in this video. The mind is a weapon, and whomever was able to see this video all the way through, hopefully you're able to take this information and get the most out of it. But that's going to conclude this video right here. Hopefully you guys are able to utilize the mind as a tool and as a weapon, right? Because that's what it is. It's a tool and it's a weapon. You can set mental thermostats on everything, right? Everything that you get, what I'm saying, that God gives you, bro, or whatever you want to call it. All your gifts, all your skills, all your talents, or whatever that your mind imagines, what I'm saying? Everything, you're able to take it and be able to apply it, right? You know what I'm saying? Just being able to take and apply, everything that you're born with, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's the most important thing. Staying disciplined and utilizing, the certain, genetical, just the certain things that things that you get, passed down, and, being able to utilize those things, right? And having control of how you manifest things. So that's the important thing to understand in this video. Stay disciplined to your systems all the way, you know what I'm saying, and really make good use of what you're born with, right? What your family done passed down, right? So that's the important thing. And we're going to conclude this video right here. Peace, love, stay, stay healthy, stay, keep your body right, stay functioning right, keep your body healthy and in proper posture, and technique, and and health, and we out this joint.